All right. Good morning, everyone. Hopefully you're all awesome and well. A few chats going on here. Good morning, Alison. Good morning, Mitchell, Marcus. I tell you what, man, Marcus, this daylight saving stuff, it gives me the willies, gives me the shits. I tell you, it is, yeah. Anyway, I'm on time in Queensland, but you guys have streaking ahead in New South Wales, Victoria and other places. So there you go. But, you know, that's the way it is. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat, ladies and gents. I'm here in my little studio again today. Gemma, good morning to you. Awesome to see you online this morning as well. Paul. You're in Queensland today. Awesome, mate. Luke, good to see you, buddy. Great to have you here. Fantastic to hang out with you on this fabulous Friday. Fab Friday. Hey, listen, while things are warming up, and I'll just do some quick sort of little intros. It takes a little bit more time now for people to jump on because for a lot of you, it's not the regular time, 10 past 8. It's 10 past 9. And, hey, Prakash, good morning to you, mate. Yeah, as a few of you are doing, let us know where you're dialing in from in the chat this morning. Great to see people from all over, Queensland, Sydney, Canberra. I'm sure Melbourne is in there as well. So good morning to you guys. Jason Witten here with you. If you didn't already know, most of you know that. But if you're new, if you're dropping by, if you're saying hello, let us know who you are, where you're from. Noughts and crosses. Yeah, there you go. Let's see it. It's kind of like, it is a bit of, well, it's almost noughts and crosses. But anyway, today I thought we'd talk about the concept of, the concept of wealth and something really simple. Break it down into we need more of this and less of that. If you have more of this and less of that in your life when it comes to wealth, then you tend to get ahead. What do you think it might be? Yeah, tic-tac-toe. What do you think it might be? Tell me in the chat. What do you think we need more of up here and less of down there? Maybe start thinking about that. That's what we'll have a bit of a chat about today. I can see my main man, compadre Andy Fenton online. So shout out to Andy. This afternoon, ladies and gents, we tell you, listen, we've had a bit of a rough trot the last month or so when it comes to getting together for Wealth, Wine and Wisdom. But this afternoon, we're going to make some extra effort to make sure we're on for this afternoon. It'll be 4 o'clock Queensland and 5 o'clock New South Wales and Victoria, and the rest of you can work it out. Anyway, someone might know already what that is. But Andy and I will hang around and do a Wealth, Wine and Wisdom this evening. There's plenty to catch up on. So there you go. So, but let's talk about let's get into what we're going to talk about today, which is the world of investing. And in my neck of the woods, what we need more of and what we need less of when it comes to being investors. Let's have a little look at, we'll make it green. I'll make that colour there. In the world of property investing, and Tim is on it right there. The first thing in the world of every investor, we need to have, hopefully you guys can read that. Is that okay? Tell me if you can read it. I'll change the pen size or the colour if we need to. First, number one thing in the world of investors, no matter who you are, no matter where you are in this world, income, cash flow, you need to produce it. You need to produce it, right? How can we, as individuals, produce cash flow, produce income when we're starting out, right? When we're starting out. Tell me the 4 ways you can produce income, and I'll just write them in just to keep on track today so we don't run over time. Usually I sort of take longer than I thought I would to do this. But hey, what's the number one way? The simple number one way most people start out when it comes to creating income in their world, their life. And this is, I'll give you a little hint. This is the what's he called? Robert Kiyosaki quadrant. Okay, anyone know this? First one, job. A lot of people, a lot of gurus call that just over broke. I think that's a terrible saying. I think that's bullshit. I think a job is awesome. I think a place and a space where you can have some skills, some knowledge, and some capacity, create income, for you and your family is damn fine. So get a great job. Get a job that you love. Get a job that you're great at. Get a job that you can produce income at. And boom, you're off and running to start creating income. What's a couple of other ways that we can, as individuals, create income in the world? Well, the next world is, I'm going to put self and then E, all right? Self-employed. Okay, there's a lot of people out there who are self-employed, not employed by another employer, but run their own race, which is perfectly fine. Self-employed is usually what I define as, when it comes to someone who is, an individual, they might not be incorporated, they might just contract and other things, okay? So we have a job, we can be self-employed. You can, as we progress in this stuff, you can own and run a business. Business, you can become a business owner. Some of us do that, some of us regret it. Some of us love it, depending on what you do. You can have a business that creates income. And what's the last but most important thing that can create income? And I've put it down the bottom here because it's this circle, this quadrant, this trip around the sun that we're going to talk about in a second. What's the last quadrant here that we haven't put in here? There's a job, there's being self-employed, you've got a business. What else? What else can be used? What else can be done to create income? Folks, ladies and gents, put that in the chat for me as well. I'm sitting here. And as we create this income, this stuff can float around. What is that? What is that one when it comes to the income right here? Put it in the chat for me there. Hopefully you guys are still, boom, there we go. Investments, totally right. So we can invest. So investments can create cash flow and income as well, all right? So this is the first quadrant. What happens? What must we do as investors? We must transform. We must transform that income in any way, shape, or form into the next part. As investors, our job is to get more income to put into the next piece, which is what, ladies and gents? You guys already know this. Well, you should. It's assets. Income in whatever shape or form as a dollar amount must transform into assets. And usually on this little section here, it keeps cutting in and out, does it? Oh, that is a bit of a bummer. Let me know. Yeah, let me know if the stream's any good here. I'm down at my office, so I'm wondering if the internet's a bit dicky. Anyway, hopefully it's still working, team. Just let me know if it's going okay. Yeah, let me know in the chat. Mine's fine. Okay, could be your end, Alison. All right, your income transforms into assets. Now, tell me, what's a tool? What is something we use very usefully, but sometimes it can be used against us in this process when we transform our income into assets? Anyone tell me what that tool might be? Like most people have access to it. It can help accelerate what we do, or it can make it a bit dangerous. Anyone know what that is? Put it in the chat for me if you know. I'll jump in anyway. It's called, boom, Simon, debt, leverage. All right, you can use leverage to accelerate. The more income you have, the more you can borrow and use leverage and equity, yes, Tim, to transform your world into assets. And why are we buying assets, team? Because assets go to work when you don't want to. Now, let's say that again. Assets go to work when you don't want to. Okay, assets go to work. They don't complain. All right, what assets can we buy? What are the things that we can own? Okay, well, over here, we can own property. Now, for all of the people on the call today, on the live today, we're all mad property fans. I hope you are anyway. We're into real estate, and there's lots of different ways to do real estate, right? You can buy and own shares. The world, hey, morning, Jeff, good morning, mate, good to see you. You can own shares. Now, both of those, you can have forms of leverage and debt on, which is fine. It can accelerate it or it can make it more dangerous depending on how you approach it and what you do. So make sure you understand what that looks like in the world of this stuff. Okay, over here, we can have business, all right? We can invest in businesses. So shares are kind of a derivative of other businesses, but you can invest and own businesses and those can grow as assets as well. Businesses can sit in the income space and they can sit in the asset space, yeah? Okay, and then sort of investments as well. And other things that we can do, intellectual property. I know a lot of people who earn ongoing value and wealth by renting out their IP as well. So these are the things, these are the assets that we have, all right? Or we can invest in using some of the leverage concepts, ideas, strategies, tactics that we understand to build our wealth, okay? So let's have a look at this. When we're looking at what should we be doing, ladies and gents, well, I can tell you right now, we should be getting more of this and more of these. I'm going to do that in a different color, actually. All right. So for all of us, actually, I'll leave that part to the end. Let's do this. All right. Okay. So more income, more assets, but we spin around to the next bit. This is the next piece we go through, turning income into assets. But now our money, the flow of capital and cash and value and wealth flows around the wheel, right? And it enters into this section here, which let's call it below the line. What happens when your wealth and your income and your stuff takes a turn into the below the line stuff? Tell me, what comes next? Does anyone know what it is? It's kind of a trick question, but have a crack. What do you think comes next, ladies and gents? What happens? We buy these things, we create income, we create assets, but then who gets a piece of the action? Expenses. Damn right. All right. What are the two big expenses when it comes to owning assets, ladies and gents? What are the two big expenses? And let's talk about the first one. Who gets their grotty hand out and has a grab on the way through? Who has a crack? Ladies and gents? Okay. Well, the first expense that we need to understand is the world of taxes. Boom, Andrew, you're on it. Taxes. The ATO, they want a piece of your. They're like, okay, I showed yesterday, right? I don't know if anyone saw that stuff yesterday with the taxes, but the ATO doesn't mind a big chunk of taxes. And when you create more wealth, ladies and gents, they tend to get more money. But not if you work with me and Andy and some smart people who understand how to minimize that for you. What are the taxes we're exposed to? Team, chuck it in the chat. I'll jump on and write it down anyway. But what are the taxes we're exposed to when it comes to the world of investing for most of us? And I'll do these. So the number one tax we're all going to pay in one way, shape or form hopefully not too much, is income tax. You guys know this. Your income tax, your income tax. The next tax is capital gains tax. Those are the two taxes where no matter what you own up here, you have exposure to, right? And how can you minimize those? Income. Nice, Paul. So what are some other ones that are property specific? Because many of us on the call here are more property orientated, right? Stamp duty. And, people say, oh, stamp duty is not a tax. Yes, it is. Shut up. Yeah. And land tax. All right. So, as we create this wealth, it flows around through the system, and these grotty people are like, give me some of your money, right? And they reach out and grab it. Yep. And there's other expenses, of course, Andrew, rates and insurance. Rates is another bloody tax. If we put down here land tax and rates, that's a state grab at your property, right? Cheeky buggers. Anyway, so it comes around the corner. It gets some exposure to taxes, all right? And what next? What comes next, ladies and gents? What happens when it comes to the world of real estate? Well, Paul said it before. It's lending, right? It's debt, okay? Debt. For many of us, we have debt, and that debt needs to be managed, needs to be smart, all right, okay? So what's the priority of most people's debt? Principal place of residence debt, PPR debt. And then, unfortunately, most people have what's called consumer debt. Consumer debt. What's the problem with principal place of residence debt and consumer debt, team? Put that in the chat for me. What's the issue with those two types of debt? What is the issue with your own home debt? We've talked about this before. And what's the issue with consumer debt? Tell me right now. What is the problem with those bits of debt? It's non-deductible. All right, most people end up with these debts, which it's dead money, and can't use it against tax minimization. And often, Andrew, as well, what happens is many people create equity in their homes. Yep, you're stuck, absolutely, John. It ruins your ability to borrow as well, your servicing. Many people, create equity and wealth in their home, and then they don't want to use the equity and wealth in their home that they've created to actually create wealth in the world of assets and income. Absolutely crazy. But it's something that we're often taught badly, accidentally by well-meaning others, right? Okay, but there's two types of debt which actually help us accelerate, okay? First one is investment debt. Investment debt, when it comes to the world of property and shares, property is very easy to use debt with, and when done well, it can be extremely valuable. Shares, you can get debt with shares, but it's a lot different, and it's not my speciality. And then the other one is business debt, right? Now, business debt is things like overdrafts and buying equipment and stuff like that. Now, that stuff can be great. It can help accelerate your income in your business and run this machine, but it can be dangerous. It can be. So this is kind of like, these two parts here, right, are where we have challenges, right? So let's bring this, to some conclusion today, right, which is we want less of this, we want less taxes, and we want less debt when it comes to especially these top two. We want less non-deductible debt. These debts actually can go up perfectly fine as long as they're managed well. And we want more income and we want more assets. So if we want to break wealth down really simply, really simply when it comes to all of us, this is it. Like, don't get confused. Don't get suck down this rabbit hole and, end up in the details, the machinations of all this opinionated bullshit, right? It's really simple, team. Get more income. Use that income to buy more assets. And then as you go along, understand how to reduce your taxes, because you can, and be smart. And use debt wisely. Reduce non-deductible debt, increase investment debt. Voila. There you go. There you go. That's the gist of it. More of that, less of that. All right. Ta-da. What do you think? How'd you like the noughts and crosses, Andy? There you go. There you go. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me know in the chat if that made sense, that landed today. Because sometimes I've done it. I'm sure you've done it as well. We overcomplicate it, ladies and gents. We overcomplicate it. We're like, what about the this and the positive and the pre-tax and the negative and the blah, blah, blah and the perfect spot and the this and is that one, we overcomplicate it. Yes, sometimes it's important to think through strategically and tactically what you're up to. But nothing's more important than understanding the really simple basics. Get more of this and make sure you have less of that. There you go. Anyway, awesome. Good to hang out with you guys this morning. Thanks for joining me on another Wealth Coffee chat. Done and dusted, over and out for today. Join me next week, Monday, 8:10, for another Wealth Coffee chat. But if you're up for it, join myself, Andy, and Andy Fenton this afternoon for Wealth, Wine and Wisdom, ladies and gents, where we get a chance to debrief for an hour what's going on in the news, some of our opinions and things we believe you should know. All right, Fenton, see you tonight. Ladies and gents, see you guys tonight as well. That's it from me. Adios. Remember, two sayings around here. This thing's a marathon, not a sprint. It's going to take time to get where we want to go. And if you buy some real estate, listen, buy it well and just don't sell it, and you'll be all right. You'll be all right. Thanks, gents and ladies, boys and girls. Adios. Take care. Bye for now.